Welcome to Spotlight Philippians, Invitation to Joy, as we continue through these wonderful 104 verses that Paul writes to his beloved friends, his church in the town of Philippi in 60 AD. And today we are going to get personal between Paul and the Philippians. To review, the Philippians love the Apostle Paul, and they have sent him support, not only financially, but also through the person of one of their very best, Epaphroditus. Epaphroditus goes to Rome to help out Paul, but Epaphroditus grows deathly ill, and so Paul needs to send him back home now that he has recovered. And Epaphroditus is the bearer of this little letter we call Philippians. And so Paul picks up and talks about this kind of subject matter in chapter 4, verse 10. I rejoice in the Lord greatly that now, at length, you have revived your concern for me. You were indeed concerned for me, but you didn't have any opportunity. Not that I am speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Well, the Apostle Paul's obviously very glad for the support that has come from his friends in Philippi. He loves Epaphroditus, who he calls his brother in the Lord, his fellow worker, his fellow soldier for Christ and minister in the gospel, but he's willing to send Epaphroditus back home for the sake of the Philippians. And the key that Paul has underneath all this, he's saying, is that he has learned a secret. What is his secret? His secret is that his joy, his life, his sufficiency does not come from his surroundings and circumstances. He can be rejoicing when he has abundance and rejoicing when he has nothing. He can be happy when he is visiting the home of someone wealthy who supports him, and he can have joy when he is imprisoned, as he is, as he writes to the Philippians. And what's going on here for Paul is that, again, you get to his radical Christ-centered life. You give me Christ and I have life. To live is Christ, he says. And it's not that Paul is a masochist or doesn't enjoy the good things of life. He's just not dependent upon them. They're not the thing that drives his engine or determines whether he will have a life with joy and fulfillment and that which is important to him. His purpose is totally found elsewhere. And I think that that is something we have to constantly assess for ourselves. Do I believe in Christ, but do I actually find my sense of contentment in things that are Christ plus the nice house I live in, Christ plus the job satisfaction I have, Christ plus my network of friends, Christ plus the beach vacation, Christ plus maybe the vacation home, Christ plus, Christ plus, Christ plus. And we have to ask ourselves, if all the pluses were removed and it were just Christ, would we, like Paul, say that we have learned the key to being content? And the key to being content is that we can do all the things that God calls us to do through Christ, with Christ, in Christ, as long as we have Christ alone. I don't think I can say that. I'm blessed with lots of things. I think it'd be very tough if I was all of a sudden to see them disappear like Job saw them disappear in the Old Testament. The best I can do is imagine for myself if someone broke into our lovely home and took everything out of it. How would I respond to that? And I think my answer is there's nothing in my house that I'd be heartbroken to lose, except maybe my books. Those would be hard for me to replace. But at least I'm not so attached to the stuff within my house that it is the one, something that determines my level of joy and contentment in Christ. But I have to work on it regularly, staying focused on the sufficiency of Jesus alone for my purpose, contentment, and joy. And I suspect if you're like me, if you're an American, you have to face the same thing. So let's read, reflect, and respond, and work on that one today. That's Spotlight Philippians, and it is an invitation to joy. We'll talk to you next time.